All right, welcome back to Problem Solver Politics. I am your host, Cardin Ellis, with Cody the Oracle.
Hey, everybody.
And it looks like our friend Andrew Yang has made it back into the news with one podcast. I have a feeling a lot of our audience, Cody, is going to be wanting to tune into this podcast after you're done subscribing to ours. But Cody, please tell us what's going on.
Yeah. Anyway, so this morning, I believe Andrew Yang started coming out with some of the official details about his Yang Speaks podcast. This has been something in the works for a while. People have been following him. I think Andrew Yang, kind of tongue-in-cheek, mentioned something along the lines of creating his own podcast way back during the old times, the media blackout times. But during his campaign, when he was struggling to get media coverage, he did talk about perhaps like, hey, maybe I'll just make my own platform. But some of the details behind this are kind of interesting. And also we want to talk about some of the guests in the format. So just moving on, Andrew Yang did officially announce earlier when the Humanity Forward project started, he mentioned this would be coming. Here's the unveiling of it. The Yang Speaks podcast. So we have a little bit of details here on who his first guest will be. And then he also did a short interview with Variety. I think Zach Grumman did with a few more details in there. A couple things in there I thought personally that were kind of fun and interesting. Yeah. Some stuff that, it's paying off in the long run. But also, one other thing, I've been seeing some stuff online, and I have to admit myself, it appears as if Andrew Yang has kind of backed away from CNN. I was wondering if it was mutual, if CNN just wasn't calling, I think a big part of election politics aren't being covered on CNN. I think another part is, and we'll dive into why, he's been working on this. So anyway, some of the first guests he has slated here for the Andrew Yang podcast. Of course, I like how he has number one, Van Jones, who is definitely seems to be his. It seems like Van Jones, if anyone, is like his
the older brother,
like his media mentor, like his
the varsity team guy that's training the young quarterback on JV how to throw touchdowns. You know?
Well, normally no. He's competing for him with his job. Anyway, though.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying, in this world.
It's a loose analogy.
It's very loose. But my point is,
Man, you don't like any of my analogies, dog.
Hey, maybe you should do better ones.
I challenge our fans to go through and find an analogy you'd have liked.
I have. Anyway, moving forward, though. So Van Jones is really cool. Like I said, he has it's seemingly been kind of helping guide Andrew Yang. They've seemingly been very friendly, I guess. They've always seemed to be in good terms, even during the debates. And then he went to CNN. He sat next to Van Jones in a lot of those early panels on CNN, and now he's doing his own thing. Very cool. Crystal Ball, also someone definitely. Crystal Ball from The Hill, the co-host of The Rising Show, and all around, I think she just personality for The Hill. That's very cool. She'll be appearing on the show. Ken Jeong, who was a endorser. He endorsed Andrew Yang.
Yeah, he was one of the early ones.
Yeah, it was one interesting to me. Albert Wenger, I believe, venture capitalist. That would be very interesting. And then there's Susan Danziger, another person I've definitely seen on the internet talking about Andrew Yang. And then, of course, Evelyn as well. But you know what? No offense to Andrew Yang, but it's like when Skip Bayless will have his wife on the show sometimes.
It's weird when it's family members. Like when Ben Shapiro brings on his wife as a doctor.
It's just because, it's a little bit.
And then, it's weird when they slip and say, yeah, but babe, what about this? It's like, and then they call him doctor, whatever. I don't know. It's weird.
Well, I don't care about that as much. Just the more it's like, you call it. It is nepotism, right? I like Evelyn. I think it's interesting hearing them talk, but that's literally your wife you're bringing on. No flame, but whenever anyone does it, it does kind of strike me as odd because it's like, yeah, but like what?
Well, I don't mind.
Were you getting ready this morning and just said, hey, you mind coming on? We'll make you think. Anyway, moving on. It's not a big deal. I want to get into a couple other details because Andrew Yang, I think it was Zach who actually spoke with them, but there were some exclusive details. Hold on. I got to show you guys the logo because this is exclusive to Variety. So this is exclusive. Please go and look at as many ads on variety.com as you can to support their exclusive Andrew Yang content. Anyway, it says that they go on to mention that less than 2 months after ending his 2020 presidential campaign, which, by the way, reading that line, I had to read that line 3 or 4 times. Less than 2 months. Yeah, it's been basically 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Oh my God. Anyway, he's set to launch a new podcast, Yang Speaks, in partnership with podcast studio and networks Cadence 13. Variety has learned. Cadence 13 is just a pretty big, it's funny, it's a pretty big podcast network. I think one of the largest radio conglomerates in the world bought them about a year ago. Yeah. So really, they're just a big, massive thing. But here we go. They mentioned the weekly show will broadly cover the future of the U.S. economy and society. According to the show's producers, it will feature in-depth discussions with thought leaders on a range of topics, including tech, public policy, sports, entertainment, and pop culture, and presumably anything else that is on Yang's mind. The series launch is slated for May 2020, which I believe a lot of us will still be under lockdown in May 2020. So that's something else to add to the carousel of stuff to get you through the day. Will be hopefully the weekly Yang up podcast. One thing that's weird, I don't know if it's just the way the article is written, they mentioned the show's producers. And as I get through here, it makes more and more sense. I'm like, I thought Andrew Yang was just kind of like starting a podcast. Like, obviously, it's not just him in his basement, right? He's going to work with the team to do it. But no, this seems to be a little bit bigger and more of a... It's going to be like one of those... There's a podcast I like on Showtime. And it's like, at a certain point, I'm like... When you're on Showtime for 90 minutes, isn't it just
a podcast?
Is it just a show?
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing wrong with just having a successful talk show. I don't know. Regardless, here's the other interesting tidbit I thought. So they mentioned that the guests on Yang Speak will include some of the smartest and most interesting people in the world. That's according to Zach Grumman, who is the former campaign manager and now a senior advisor. By the way, is senior advisor above or below EP, right? I feel like I would rather be not the senior advisor, but it's almost, we were joking before. He's like Robert Duvall in The Godfather.
Yeah.
Right? He's just like Andrew Yang's right hand. Yeah, he's like his right hand man. Just like he follows him everywhere. I'm campaign manager now. I like how they have officially moved him from like a role. Like he's just an advisor. He's just like God, like what there's
Can we just start calling him conciliating?
It's like a Star Trek. Is he even an advisor in Star Trek? Someone just sits next to him and tells him what to do? Anyway, I just thought that was really funny, the way that they mentioned him there as Andrew, how Zach is kind of molded into, he's just kind of Yang's guy. He's going to be there with him, helping him do stuff. But this is the other thing I wanted to touch on that I thought was hilarious. I don't know if you guys remember, but we actually did a video on this a while ago, and it was right when Yang went to CNN. This article came out from Deadline saying that Andrew Yang and Evelyn Yang officially signed with CAA.
Yep.
CAA is just a large artist...
creative artist agency. It's a big agency.
Agency is the word I couldn't think of. And what I think is funny is you now look at how does Andrew Yang score this podcast? Well... It appears that Cadence 13 landed the pack with Yang's team after they reached out to CAA to express interest in a podcast partnership. Andrew Yang's passionate ideals and vision for the future resonate with millions of people, and they even get the whole press release thing. It's just funny.
His people called their people, and they did lunch.
Well, very quickly, he moved from a political. And I think Van Jones probably helped him with this a little bit. Like, no, dude, trust me. I mean, maybe not Van Jones, but someone definitely told Andrew when he dropped out and started getting more into the media stuff. You got to sign with an agency, get on a network, get your face out there, boost your exposure, and then you can go do your own show. I feel like Van Jones is like saying, whatever you do, don't sign with these networks that work you 12 hours a day and don't pay you what you're worth. Go do your own thing somewhere. And that's what he's doing. So it just seems to me that it's really cool to see. There's been a lot of talk for close to a year-ish, not a year, maybe like 7-8 months.
Well, people first suggested it during the Yang media blackout.
Yeah, exactly.
They suggested it. I remember hearing a lot of overtures of this and a lot of demand for it when his microphone was first shut off.
Yeah, the first debate.
In the very, very first NBC debate. So it seems like this has definitely been a long time coming, and I'm pretty sure that he's got a pretty solid built-in audience for this right now.
Well, no, but the thing I wanted to just touch on there, I think it's cool to see how it played out. It isn't just him in his garage doing like a Joe Rogan kind of thing.
Hey, what are you saying, dog? What are you saying?
You know what I mean? It's not like he just like, oh, we'll just start a show. I mean, like he went out and signed with an agency, and then his agency went and signed with a very big thing. He's going to be at probably a very nice studio. It's going to be done to the nines, which is very cool.
It's going to be like Podcast One, where you show up and you got the rights to Studio A. And
but that's what I mean. I'm just very glad to see that he did it right, and he's going to be done out. Because the next thing I want to get in, because it's going to be very cool. I'm excited to watch it. Is the guest, because he actually asked, maybe some of you guys caught when I showed that tweet in the very beginning, he was asking people to post suggestions for guests. I thought it'd be fun for just a minute here.
We're just going to drum roll?
Well, no, because these are suggestions. But I want to roll through because I just want to get in the comments. I want you guys to let us know who you guys want to see on there. I think, let's see, the couple interesting ones we'll touch on. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but the idea of having, because here's the funny thing, right? Someone said Joe Biden. Instinctually, I'm like, Joe Biden, they can't be. And I was like, wait a minute. Andrew Yang endorsed him and he's not running for president anymore. Like, why couldn't Joe Biden be on this show?
Yeah.
It seems like actually what's scary is when you think about it.
It would probably do a lot of good for Joe Biden.
No, but it would just be logical. What, a high-profile endorser of Joe Biden just started the new show? Wouldn't it make sense to have him as a guest on it? So that was one that when I first read it, I was like, come on, Joe Biden. But then I'm like, not only is Andrew Yang not competing against Joe Biden, he's allegedly a supporter. I did some research to find the last time Andrew Yang spoke up against Joe Biden. The last time I think so was the Breakfast Club when he just briefly mentioned, I guess I'll be in his administration, because no one's writing articles about anything to do with those two guys.
Yeah.
But that was one that, even though it sounds kind of if any of them are going to happen, that's the other. But then the other one I think would be cool. People have mentioned, of course.
Oh, Ben Shapiro. You got it.
Yeah, Tiny Ben.
Of
That'd be
course.
Great. Now,
Come on.
I would love
Come
it.
on.
I think Obama would be pretty fun.
Okay, fair enough.
And then we've seen a lot of stuff
Fair enough.
Joe Rogan, Chris Cuomo. That's why I don't want to go too far down. There's a lot of people that sure could be. The one that stuck out to me the most, though, was Biden. Because, well, at first I'm like, that's so stupid. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, God, yeah, Biden probably is going to be one of those early guests.
Yeah.
I mean, Biden will, like, literally, it'll be like, hey, Biden, this Yang guy endorsed you and he has a podcast. And like I said, I'm pretty sure it's going to be pretty popular. Like, wouldn't it make sense that when you're running for president, stuck at home in quarantine, to do like zoom into the podcast?
You know what I think would be interesting,
that's
too?
happen. It's going to happen, man.
Is all the able-bodied ex-presidents. I think would be interesting. See, Barack Obama was so young. People, but like Bush has stayed completely out of the spotlight post-presidency.
No, remember he went to a baseball game with Ellen
Oh,
DeGeneres.
yeah. Except for that faded, ill-fated game at the Dodger Stadium.
Didn't you give Michelle Obama candy?
I don't know, but like Vince Vaughn was caught talking to him, and everybody freaked out too.
Which is dumb because Vince Vaughn's like one of the noted Hollywood. It's like one of the things about him that's
Vince
noted.
Vaughn's
he's a Hollywood
so right. He's
conservative.
libertarian.
Yeah, it's just he's like one of them. He's like, oh my God, who's Angelina Jolie's dad, right?
Yeah. Well, and many rumors say Angelina Jolie herself, except for she's just done a lot better job of staying under the radar. She's very anti-socialism. And she's been very vocal about anti-socialism because of the charity work she's done.
I forgot that's the pulse of life.
Question. It's
everybody in life falls on the anti or pro-socialism.
The line in the sand, my friend, that distinguishes the righteous from the worthy.
Before we wait for too long, so I think I want to wrap up. With
But ex-presidents. Yeah. I wouldn't want to drag an ex-president on there that is having. I think like Bill Clinton's starting to be slow, not as engaging, but I think the recent ones, he's not as interesting. He's really slowed down a lot lately.
I think a lot of it's like the Weinstein thing, where it's like you only see him when people are like trying to like accuse him of things, so he's always like, ugh. But no, when I see Bill,
maybe
I think he's fine
as long as he felt it, he was up to it. I'm not trying to dog on Clinton because I think there's some very interesting things that could be talked about during the Clinton presidency, because we're so busy ragging on these people. I partisanly joke and jest a lot, but we're so busy ragging on these people about certain things. We can never go into like, wow, this happened during your presidency. What were you thinking? What was going through your head? And just kind of getting beyond just the bickering noise. Now that all the worry about re-election is over, just being able to retrace some of those steps with ex-presidents I would find that intriguing. You know what I'm saying? I would actually find that quite intriguing. Yeah. That, and then also just really cool. Andrew Yang was probably the most sports proficient of all the candidates. He was regularly tweeting about games and regularly tweeting about all kinds of athletic events around the nation. And it really seemed to wow a lot of these athletes that he would retweet or else he would quote and stuff. I think there was a group of professional basketball players like, whoa, a presidential candidate just retweeted us. Well, we might just be Yang Gang now.
I think it was Spencer Dinwiddie, yeah. When Yang, I don't think he went to a Nets game, but yeah. No,
yeah, exactly.
I would love,
so getting some of these athletes would be real cool.
As a little sports reference, I would love to see Yang sit down with James Dolan for 90 minutes. That'd be a great one.
Okay, who's James Dolan?
Owner of the Knicks.
Oh,
Andrew Yang's already had a lot of stuff to say about James Dolan. Although I don't want to. We're going a little bit long here. Yeah. But there's one thing I want to talk about too. You brought it up earlier. 20, 30 years from now, maybe not 30, like 45 years from now, right?
Yeah.
My larger point is because Obama was so young, he might be later in his life like one of the longest people, like one of the furthest distances between having been in office to still be alive.
Yeah,
for
like if
president,
JFK had not been shot,
like similar. He'd be like 70 and 80 and be like, I was president 40 years ago.
Yeah, he would still be around now and would be like this amazing sounding board.
I guess Jimmy Carter.
Same with Robert F. Kennedy. Yeah, see, Jimmy Carter was around for a really, really long time.
Because he's president in the 70s, early 80s, right? Late 70s, early 80s for Carter.
Well, yeah. Reagan was elected in 80.
Yeah, so the 70s.
And so that's when the world changed for the better.
Okay.
So he was 76 to 1980.
But Jimmy Carter could be like, yeah, I was president in 1977. Like, wow, that was.
We had a lot of old presidents and a lot of presidents that died much earlier than they're dying now. So we haven't really enjoyed the longevity of a post-presidency in my adult life, except for George W. Bush. But he's so quiet post-spotlight. I mean, he's like really committed to this idea
Well,
that
I think he's wanted for war crimes in some countries too.
oh,
so.
stop.
I'm looking at the literally. I think that
every American is. Let me tell you right now.
Almost president.
Let me tell you right now. There's no country that views us as Democrats and Republicans. They view us as whatever they're supposed to view us as, either as the great Satan or the great Savior.
No, the great Satan always.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. America is the great Satan. I'm just saying. I think that might be possible. Wise, like there was a lot of stuff that went on when he was president. That maybe I'll wait till a little more time has passed before I go back in public. But anything else you want to wrap up? I went really long on this. I just definitely want in the comments. Please let us know, guys, who you want to see in Andrew Yang's podcast. Like I said, to me personally, oh man, I'd love to see James Dolan on that podcast. But I do think the Biden one's happening. It's just. If Biden's still running for president in July,
well, he needs all the positive attention he can get right now. Yeah,
and one of his more prominent, somebody who ran against him dropped out and endorsed him. It was a popular show, which I'm assuming it will be in a few months. Yeah, dude, he kind of has to be on. Which hold on to your butts for that one, the Obama Biden one. No, the Obama, the Yang Biden. Because I'm trying to imagine like if Biden starts doing his weird like.
He should
like how would Yang handle that?
People forget
right?
Sanders is still in the race. He should get Sanders. You should get Sanders on there.
He can't. He probably can't.
Really. Actually,
really.
you know what he should do?
Unless he had both.
He should just put the camera behind Bernie Sanders and just have a sound bite that's recorded really, really well from the debates of it's the billionaires and the corporations. Just because, that's what the answer is going to be every single time.
Well, I mean, it does seem like Andrew would probably prefer to have Bernie over Biden. But, just politically, I don't see how he could have Bernie instead of Biden. I don't. Like, the guy you endorse probably has to be on your show, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm crazy. But
long as Biden
I think
goes
that's coming
first.
up. But it's also, it wouldn't be the worst thing. I would just be curious to see if Andrew Yang's talking to Biden and he starts doing that stuff where Biden's like not answering questions, like you're doing weird stuff, just kind of like, oh, wait, no, I mean, like, would Yang be like, just play it cool? Would he kind of be like, I don't know. Like, that's a weird position to be in, especially for, I'm assuming you'll have someone else in the show help him. Because seriously, it's like you're endorsing the guy for president, but I don't think anybody wants to put the person they're endorsing for president on the spot in general anyway. You're not going to ask tough follow-ups. You're not going to be like, well, no, hold on a minute, Joe.
Well,
really?
I mean,
what do you think about
Andrew Yang's
that?
personality isn't exactly the tough question asker.
Yeah, so it might be an easy interview Biden, but just funny. I'm looking forward to if it does happen. He doesn't mention it. It's not confirmed, but
he's like a Larry King. He's more Larry King than he is, Tucker Carlson.
Exactly.
All right.
But I think I would be. I guess I'll just wrap it up. If I was Joe Biden, I'd be upset if I didn't get an invite to the show. I wouldn't be furious, but I kind of feel like, oh, okay.
But Joe Biden's probably already forgot who Andrew Yang is. Joe Biden is living in a beautiful spot right now.
The Joe Biden campaign is being managed by he has executors of his estate, I guess, managing this stuff for him right now. But no, but every campaign's like that. You know what I mean? You have people that do handle this stuff for you. Case in point, remember, no one asked Andrew Yang to make a podcast for them on their network. His agency was reached out to by a network. I mean, it's just that's how this stuff works. We went a little bit longer than I wanted to discussing who would be on it. But I do think former presidents would be cool. I would love to see sports figures. Maybe not James Dolan, but I'd love to see him talk. I'd like to see Andrew Yang talk freely. I actually, you know what? I got blown off by Andrew Yang. I asked him if you're watching there, Andrew, his question remains: is Sam Darnold the future of the New York Jets? I asked him. He just blew me off. I have it on video. He just looked at me and turned away. He heard me. I know he heard me. So that remains, Andrew. Is Darnold the future? I'll ask him that whenever football season starts again. That's all I got to say.
That's funny. Well, let us know what you guys think. Please follow us on Twitter at PSP Radio 1. Cody's fingers are flying on the Twitter machine at PSP Radio 1, so you got to make sure that you're following us. Also, we're on Instagram and on Facebook and on your favorite podcasting platform. Also, consider joining the channel. It's a really inexpensive way to keep us corporate sponsorship free and make sure these videos keep coming to you on the tube of you. This is Problem Solver Politics. We'll see you guys in the next video.